Hi everyone, it's Monica, and welcome back to Tailor-Made Cards for You. Today I wanted to share with you my process for mounting my unmounted rubber stamps, and I'm going to be using Easy Mount mounting foam. If you've never used this product before, it essentially has a sticky side, and then on the other side it has a cling side, enabling you to utilize it on your stamping platform or any of your acrylic blocks. Now the mounting foam typically comes in the size of 8.5 by 11, and the thickness of the foam does vary. You can get it thin like the one that I'm using now, or a little bit thicker if that's what your preference is. Now before I begin, I usually like to measure out the rubber stamp that I'm going to be mounting, and then I'll cut down my Easy Mount mounting foam to the size that I need. You can use an X-Acto knife to do this, or any craft knife. Now the craft knife that I'm using is from Tonic, and it is retractable. And I prefer to use a tool that does have a retractable knife. That way the knife will easily slip back into its case when not in use. Now once I've cut down my mounting foam, I'm going to peel back the Easy Release printed liner to expose the adhesive part of the Easy Mount foam. And then I'm going to press my rubber stamps onto the exposed adhesive. Now it is recommended that you use your Easy Mount scissors, but I'm using my Tim Holtz Tonic scissors for this process. And then I'm going to show you how to clean them off because you will get some of that stickiness onto your scissors. Now when you initially separate the images and the sentiments, you don't want to cut too close to those images because you're simply separating them at this point. Once you've got them all separated, then I typically like to come in with a smaller pair of scissors and cut a little bit closer to my images. Now this is the process where you do want to get as close to your image or your sentiment as possible. Now the reason for this is when you actually go to use your rubber stamps, if you have too much of that rubber surface showing, your black ink or your colored ink can easily get on that rubber stamp and ruin the stamped image. And that's why you want to get as close to your image or your sentiment as possible. Now, as I said, when you are actually cutting these rubber images, some of that stickiness may get onto your scissors. But this stickiness can easily be removed with some everyday rubbing alcohol. I simply get a paper towel, add some alcohol onto it, and then wipe off the stickiness. And they're as good as new. Now, it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. You want to be extra careful when you're cleaning your scissors. Typically, when you're rubbing these, you are putting your fingertips close to the sharp edges. And even though you have a paper towel, those scissors can easily cut through the paper towel. So please do take extra care when you're cleaning your scissors. Now, while I do love working with the thick rubber stamps and the clear, crisp impressions you get when you use them, what I don't like is the inability to see what the image looks like when you store them. So I'm going to show you how I store my rubber stamps to solve that problem. So you're going to take just a white piece of printer paper and you're going to stamp your images onto this paper. You're going to want to leave enough room so that way you can cut around these images because you are going to use those for your storage. Now, while these stamped images don't have to be perfect, I like to get mine as crisp as possible because these are the images that are going to be taped outside of my storage unit. So once I've got my images stamped onto my paper, I will take my scissors and cut around these images. Essentially, you're fussy cutting these. And you're going to want to get as close to the image as possible because these are going to line up over your rubber stamps in your container. Now the storage units that I use to store my rubber stamps are from Stampendous, and these are the thin stufftainers. What I love about these stufftainers is not only that they are small, but they're stackable. So you can store several rubber stamps taking up very little space. I know a lot of us stampers struggle for space, and these stufftainers have worked great for me, and I highly recommend them. Typically, I will look for these to be on sale, and even if I don't need them, I'll buy them because I know eventually I will fill these up. So once you have all of your images stamped on your white piece of paper and cut out, you're going to take your rubber stamps and line them up in your stufftainer. And then once you have them lined up, you're going to take your images and place them over the cling image on the outside. Now the tape that I like to use is packing tape. And I like packing tape because number one, it's clear. And number two, it is a little bit wider. So in some cases, I can cover one of the images completely, or if I need to, I can cut a long strip and cover several images at the same time. Once you have all of your images taped down, you'll easily be able to see what rubber stamps are stored in each stufftainer. In many cases, unmounted rubber stamps are a lot more inexpensive to purchase than the mounted rubber stamps. And with this process of mounting your own rubber stamps, as well as a storage solution, hopefully you'll have enough room in your craft room to purchase as many stamps as you want. All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.